We're going to talk about how you can overcome self-doubt as a business owner with these three things. Let me ask you a question first. Have you ever had that moment where you're about to launch something, maybe kind of big, exciting, but this little voice creeps in with things like, who do you think you are? How are people going to receive this? What are they going to say about you? Things like that. So I actually already know the answer to this question. And I know the answer because we all have that voice. Every one of us, we don't escape it. It's human nature, unfortunately. And the problem is, it's not just an annoying voice. Isn't just like a little passing thought that happens. This is the kind of voice that keeps you from gaining momentum in your business. It keeps you playing small. It has you second guessing the decisions that you're making. It wreaks havoc, essentially, is what I'm telling you. And we could go into, how it tanks your self-esteem and your confidence and all those things. And it does those things. Here's the real reason that self-doubt sticks around. It's because we let it. And that's not meant to be funny. We don't have to let it. The thing is, most of us just don't have the tools. We don't know how to not avoid it necessarily. I don't subscribe to the idea that we can avoid it. Self-doubt is part of our nature. We're going to have self-doubt, but to not let it perpetuate is what we really want to do. So being able to stop it when we have that first thought, letting that be the only thought of doubt, and then we move forward into a more empowered state. And so instead of fighting the self-doubt, we need to start to learn tools to move forward from it. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today, is these three things that I talked about. So the first of those things is some form of an evidence folder or some evidence around you. And so what do I mean by that? So we need to know when self-doubt creeps in, we have to have ways to get ourselves through it. So looking at the evidence of our past successes and accomplishments is a really, really great way to do that. So one of the things that you can do is something as simple as keeping a folder on your desktop, on your computer, or even a physical folder if you prefer, that has things like awards and accolades that you've earned over the years. It can include testimonials from past clients or customers, Google reviews, things like that. You can make a list of accomplishments. So they aren't necessarily things that you were awarded for, but things that you've accomplished over time to remind yourself, hey, I did that thing. Those are really, really powerful reminders when we're in a moment of self-doubt. So I wanted to share a personal story here, actually, of how this impacted my life very recently. So I'm going to take you back a couple of decades to when I was in the military, and then after that in the kind of 9-to-5 workforce, if you will, before my entrepreneurial journey. And I had a great number, as a matter of fact, of awards and accolades. I had done Soldier of the Year boards where I competed against other soldiers for awards. I had, of course, just in my job, served customers over the years. And so I acquired a lot of awards and accolades for the things that I did over those years. And when I left the workforce, particularly, as a matter of fact, not even when I left the workforce, but when my husband got his next duty station, and then the one after that, these things got packed away into a big bin and they didn't get taken back out. And with every time we moved, I would look at the bin and then I'd stuff it all back in there and decide, I don't need this stuff. I don't want to take it out. I had done these things in the past. Yeah, it was cool. I was probably proud of myself at the time. I'm sure I was, because these were big accomplishments. But, I just kind of wrote it off as not important. They didn't really mean anything. And so they sat in that box for decades. Now, fast forward to pretty recently, actually. I mean, within the past couple months. And my kids came upon the box and they were digging through it and they were really excited by what they found. Because the truth is, there's some really cool looking awards in there. I have a big old beautiful eagle on top of a block of wood for one of them. There's just some really gorgeous stuff in there. And so my kids were super excited and they're like, Mom, can we have this? This is so cool. And I was thinking, no, that is an award that was earned by somebody. You have to earn your own awards. No, I'm not going to give away my awards. But the more that I got to thinking about it was, well, they're just sitting there. Why are they just sitting there? And I had convinced myself that they didn't matter, that they really weren't a depiction of, they didn't create a depiction of, who I am today, what I'm capable of accomplishing in the current endeavor that I am pursuing in my life. And so the more I thought about why are they just sitting there, the more I thought that they really do have a significant value at this point in my life. And that significant value is that they're my evidence of what I have accomplished in my journey over the years. And no, they're not entrepreneurial endeavors. They stem from when I was in the Army, and then when I was, in the civilian world after the military service. My military service was completed, but they're still all a story of how I did something, I accomplished something. And so these are things that I now have surrounded myself with. They, line my desk and my walls. And when I get into that space of self-doubt, I can look around and go, yeah, you did that thing. And remember how tough the journey was for some of this stuff, and the fact that I came out on the other side, an awardee or an accomplished employee or whatever the thing was. These are things that you can do for yourself. So whether you have physical awards that you can put around you, or you have digital ones that you can print out or you can put into a folder on your desktop, or whether you just create a list for yourself of all of the things that you've accomplished, the things that you've done that you're proud of, not because somebody else said that it was good, but because you accomplished it and it's something that resonates within you as a victory. This is how you provide yourself evidence in those moments of self-doubt. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is leaning into doing I like to do it through a visualization aspect. So it's looking at your future self. So this future self, now being very specific here, this future self is the version of you that has already accomplished all of the amazing things that you are endeavoring to accomplish. So this future self has done the things and she presents herself in that way. She is that person who did it. And so when you visualize and interact with this future self, you get to glean from her that confidence of having attained all of the things that she has already attained. And you take that confidence and you pull it into your current set of circumstances and you apply it to where you're at, and you use it to propel you forward and to build that momentum from where you are at right now. So whenever, let's say, that voice of self-doubt creeps in, you can ask yourself, what would my future successful self choose to do right now? Would she play small? Would she shrink back? Would she let fear take over? Would she get stuck inside of her head and not take the steps? No, she did the thing. So what would she do? She'd make the move. And you activate that piece of you that lives there. So that was number 2. Now the third thing that you can do, this is a big one, and perhaps arguably one of the most difficult, and that is give yourself permission to be imperfect. Give yourself permission to be bad at the thing when you're just starting out. When you're just learning to do a thing, when you're just starting to do a thing, give yourself permission to not be good at it. Now, before I dive any deeper into this idea, I want to recognize that sometimes it's really hard to give ourselves permission, because particularly if you come from a long background of having perfectionist tendencies, yes, I can relate to that one. So if you have a background of having these long perfectionist tendencies, sometimes what you need is to have that outside permission before you can give yourself permission. So let me be the first one to loud and proud and clearly give you permission to be imperfect, to do the thing badly as many times as it takes to do it well. Now, you give yourself permission in the same way that you were able to receive permission from an outside source. So with that said, every single time that you embark upon a thing and it's not good, because it's not intended to be perfect the first time around, not letting that voice go, you suck, you're never going to get this isn't for you, you're not good at this, but reminding it, I'm learning, I'm getting better each day, I'm taking the steps to improve, in finding the success and celebration in that, acknowledging that you are doing the thing badly so that someday you will do the thing expertly. So to wrap up, those are the 3 things that I would suggest just for now to implement today. There's so many other beautiful things that I can share with you. And I have, as a matter of fact, in so many of my videos along the way, which I will link for you at the end of this video. But for now, those 3 things as a recap is Having some kind of evidence, whether it's a folder, it's your physical evidence around you of the things that you've accomplished. Having a discussion with your future self when you're feeling fearful of moving forward. What would my future successful self do right now? And activating that. And then the permission to be bad at the thing when you're starting, and be bad as many times as it takes, not putting limits on yourselves around how many times you need to practice to do the thing before you get good at it. Now, on that note, before I wrap up here, I will share with you that I have been doing these YouTube videos for, probably well over a year and a half now. And would I call myself an expert at this point? Absolutely not. But would I say that I have progressed from day one? 100%. They were bad at the beginning. And every single time I did another one, I gained that experience and got a little bit better and learned from the thing. You will do the same thing. Be bad as many times as it takes for you to get good. Alrighty, so I am curious, which of these 3 things really, really, really hit home for you today? I want to hear it in the comments so we can have the discussion. And if this helps, I have a request from you. If you would, please hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. It helps me with the algorithm, number one, but it really helps to give me direction for new content. So it lets me know if this is the kind of content that you are enjoying, and it lets you know when I release a new video, which I do every single week. So if you would, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.